Good day, listener. Welcome to today's episode of the KR podcast. I am your host, Lim Wai Xin, and today we are delving into the dark and deceitful world of online romance scams. As technology connects us in ways we never imagined, it also opens doors for those with malicious intents. These scams preying on the vulnerable have become a global issue. One of the most heartbreaking cases is that of Jamila Westgard, a mother whose trust and compassion were cruelly exploited, leading to devastating consequences. In this episode, we will dive deep into this case, uncovering the details, understanding the factors at play, and learning crucial lessons to protect ourselves and others. Joining me today are my fellow podcasters, each bringing their unique expertise to these discussions. First, we have Lim Jing Hong, our case analyst who will walk us through the background and details of the Jamila Westgard case. Next, Jun Hen Chi, our criminology specialist, will examine the factors that led to this offense, providing insight into how such scams are orchestrated. Following that, Tan Shi-wen, our psychologist and sociologist, will discuss the emotional and financial effects of this scam have on the victims. Finally, Tan Yu-mei, our public awareness advocate, will share the important lesson that we can learn from this case and how we can protect ourselves and our loved ones from falling into similar traps. Let's begin by hearing from Jing Hong, who will provide us with the detail of the case. So, Jing Hong, can you take us through the story of Jamila Westgard?
Yes, Waisin. The story of Jamila Westgard is a heartbreaking one, illustrating how a kind-hearted mother from Alberta, Canada, was tragically exploited by a cunning romance scammer. Jamila was a loving mother to her daughter, Chantal Westgard, and she believed in the goodness of others. Unfortunately, these very qualities made her vulnerable to the scammer. The key events that led to her tragic situation began when a man, claiming to be a US surgeon, contacted her online. Over more than 2.5 years, this man carefully built a relationship with Jamila, gaining her trust and affection. Eventually, he told her he loved her and initiated his fraudulent scheme, convincing her to send him money under the pretense that he needed to escape and be with her. The next significant event was when Jamila deeply invested in the relationship, sold her home and sent large sum of money to this man. She even attempted to send 36,000 in cash, which was intercepted by the bank. Despite these red flags, Jamila remained blind to the reality of the scam, sacrificing her own well-being, her food, her medicine, all for a man who was not who he claimed to be. The consequences were devastating. Jamila ended up homeless, her health deteriorated, and her daughter Chantal described her as looking like a 100 years old woman, though she was only 74. Tragically, on October 14, 2023, Jamila passed away just days before she was to reunite with Chantal in Canmore, Alberta. But this story isn't just about loss, it's also about courage. Chantal, determined to seek justice, impersonated her mother to gain information from the scammer, which she then handed over to the police. The police investigation led to a woman at the address who claimed to be another victim of the scam. The investigation continues with suspicions of money laundering now being explored. That's all for the case. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Jing Hong. Now, He Chi, as our criminology specialist, can you help us to understand the factors that contribute to this offense?
Okay, so the story of Jamila highlights several factors contributing to the corruption offenses. One of them is the exploitation of emotional vulnerabilities by the scammer. Jamila sought companionship and emotional support, which made her vulnerable. Scammers will prey on such vulnerabilities. In Jamila's case, the scammers posed as a US surgeon and convinced her that they could be together if she helped him escape. The scammers maintained affection and care, manipulating Jamila's emotions to the point where she could no longer differentiate right from wrong. Jamila's desperate need for love clouded her judgment, leading her to trust the scammer's fabricated stories and promises. Online relationships are faithless as they lack physical interactions. This helps scammers to build personas that seem genuine. In Jamila's case, this trust was strengthened by the scammer's consistent and emotionally manipulative communication, which had convinced her to send large sums of money and even sold her home. Next factor is the tactics used by the scammer. They are specially tailored to exploit Jamila's vulnerabilities after doing research on her to understand her emotional needs. The scammer gained her trust by acting as a loving and supportive partner, which is what Jamila was desperate for and at that time. This gave scammer the chance to create a convincing story to make Jamila make irrational financial decisions. Moving on is the lack of awareness about online scams. Elderly individuals like Jamila are often targets for such schemes due to their accumulated wealth and lack of familiarity with online fraud. Scammers exploit this factor, knowing that older adults might not be recognize the dangers of internet interactions, which makes Jamila a perfect target. Inadequate responses from financial institutions also played a role in Jamila's case. Despite stopping a 36,000 cash transaction, more effective intervention from the bank could have prevented further financial losses. Banks have a responsibility to monitor unusual transactions and flag potential fraud, but their measures were insufficient in Jamila's case. Other than that, more general problems exist. Scammers operate anonymously and can reach numerous potential victims online, making it difficult for law enforcement to track them down. The shame associated with falling victim to a scam also prevents them from reporting the crime or seeking for help. After Jamila's death, her daughter tried to turn the tables by posing as her mother to identify the scammers. While this led to a police investigation, the suspect claimed to be a victim. This illustrates the complexity of these scams and the difficulty in bringing justice. And that is all from me. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Hershey. Now, Shivan, as our expert in psychology and sociology, can you talk about the effect of these corruptions?
Alright, thank you for having me, Waisen. So through the case just now, we can see that romance scams are not just about financial loss. They also have deep emotional and psychological consequences. Now I will talk about three key areas which are emotional distress, financial ruin, and the loss of trust. After knowing that they have been scammed, the victim may feel emotional distress. When someone is tricked into a fake relationship, they often face deep feeling of betrayal and heartbreak. Imagine pouring your emotion, trust, and time into someone, only to find it was all a deception. It can be really devastating. Victims may feel a mixture of embarrassment and shame, blaming themselves for not spotting the scam sooner. These feelings are often worsened by the fear of being judged by family and friends. Many victims hesitate to share their experiences, worried they will be seen as naive or foolish. This hesitation to share can lead to feeling isolated, which makes it harder to get help and recover. This circulation of guilt and isolation can significantly affect their emotional healing and may even contribute to serious mental health issues like depression and anxiety. Another major effect is financial ruin. Scammers are incredibly skilled at building trust, only to turn around and exploit their trust for their own financial gain. They often tell touching stories to make victims feel like they need to help them with money. Once the victim is emotionally involved, they might start sending money to scammers and sometimes even empty their entire savings. This may lead victims to face huge debt, bankruptcy, or even end up homeless, just like what happened in the Jamila case. The story really shows how severe the financial consequences of this scam can be. Another big effect of romance scam is the loss of trust. Trust is the foundation of any relationship, and when someone breaks the trust through a scam, the impact can be deep and long-lasting. Victims often struggle with self-doubt, wondering if they can even trust others again and if someone is really being sincere in the future. This loss of trust also often spread to online platforms, especially dating sites. After being scammed, many victims are hesitant to use this platform again, afraid of getting tricked a second time. This makes it really tough for them to start a new relationship. So to sum up everything, these aren't just about losing money. They touch every part of the victim's life. So therefore, it is important to stay informed and aware, not just only for ourselves, but also for the people who we care about. Thank you. That's all for my part.
All right, thank you, Shivan. Finally, Yunmei, as our public awareness advocate, what are the lessons we can take away from Jamila cases?
Thank you, Waisian. I can share some important lessons from this Jamila case that both alarming and instructive. First, public awareness is crucial. Romance scams are on the rise, it targeting individuals seeking love and connection online. Many victims fail to recognize the warning signs such as suddenly requests for money or inconsistent personal story. So, educating people to spot this red flag is essential to prevent them from falling victim to this scam. Second, financial institutions have a critical role. Scammers often manipulate their victims into transferring money and exploiting various financial channels. Banks need to step up by enhancing their security measures using advanced technology to detect fraud to protect their customers. Lastly, we must not overlook the emotional impact on victims. Beyond financial loss, the psychological effect can be profound, leading to anxiety, depression, and a deep sense of betrayal. Providing victims with access to counseling and support service is vital to help them recover from the trauma. In addition, to protect ourselves and our community from romance scams, we must focus on a few key areas. First is raise awareness. We can share some real-life story to help others recognize this danger. Besides that, we must be vigilant online. We can verify identity before depending online relationship, avoid sharing personal or financial information early on, and be cautious of those who avoid meeting in person. Last but not least, we must strengthen our financial security such as regularly monitor bank accounts for suspicious activity and use secure payment methods. If possible, we can report any suspected scam to authorized and online platform. By staying informed, vigilant, and supportive, we can better protect ourselves and our community from the threat of romance scam. That's all I can share with you guys. Thank you.
All right, thank you everyone for your insightful contributions. The case of Jamila Westgard is a tragic reminder of how deeply romance scam can affect individuals. It underscores the importance of awareness, education, and support system to prevent such heartbreaking outcomes. Through this discussion, we hope to shine a light on the vulnerabilities that scammers exploit and the devastating impact of these scams can have on their victims. Our goal is to encourage vigilance and empower our listeners to recognize the sign of frauds so that they can protect themselves and their loved ones. It is crucial for us to build a supportive community where individuals feel comfortable seeking help and sharing their experiences. By fostering an open conversations and increasing public awareness, we can collectively work towards preventing these scams and supporting those who have been affected. Let's all stay vigilant and remember, when something feels off, it is crucial to trust your instinct and seek for help. Thank you for tuning in, and until next time, have a great day, everyone.